The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Okay. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Monday in the rib.
And of course, everything's hitting the fan.
That's right. Today's the big day. Paul DeVol makes his announcement as to what he's going to allow to open in this fascist state.
Yeah, that will be at 11 o'clock this morning. And I'm wondering if our local stations down here in Fall River, actually Providence, will carry it because it's at 11 a.m. And I think it's important news. But they haven't carried a lot of what the governor said over the past couple of months anyhow. So it's going to be interesting to see. But let's start with the COVID report. Yesterday, the mayor announced that we went up 25 cases Sunday to 990 COVID positive cases in Fall River. There are no upticks in deaths, so we're still at 20. 5,870 in Bristol County, up 122 from Saturday, and 86,010 statewide. So we are what we are.
And I have to interject here. I see that our favorite channel, Channel 95, that carries Spindle City Straight Talk and is taping it as we speak, is carrying it live on Channel 95 today. So by all means, avail yourself of hopefully that message will get out because this won't air until after the conference. But
right. So we won't know exactly what the governor's going to say because
and Paul DeVol will you do have a list though. You do
yes, I do. I have
an article and you have another list. So
right. I actually have two articles. One that appeared on the in the patch, which is based upon a memo that was obtained by the Boston Globe, and the other is actually in the Herald News, which I thought was interesting. So we'll see. But accordingly, Channel 5 has come out with a plan to reopen Massachusetts businesses this week. State officials held a call on Friday with leaders of several towns and cities. I wonder if one of those towns or cities was Fall River. I hope so, because the mayor hasn't said anything. Sources with knowledge of the discussion told 5 investigates that construction, manufacturing, and places of worship, the churches are going to be open, would be among the groups approved to reopen on or after May 18th. The phased reopening details given to towns and cities would require businesses to self-certify that they are in compliance with the state's requirements for social distancing, hygiene, and staffing. The businesses would have to post their plan for compliance inside their establishments. The Boston Globe reported that the offices will be permitted to open next Monday at 25% capacity, except in Boston, which will have to wait until June 1st. Businesses included in the phase beginning on May 25th, which is next Monday, are expected to include barbershops, salons, and recreational marijuana shops. God forbid we don't get the tax dollars. Retailers would still be limited to curbside pickup. Hospitals would be cleared to resume elective procedures. Governor Baker has announced the basic structure of 4-phased reopening. It included mandatory safety standards for workplaces, including social distancing and required face coverings, frequent hand washing, and regular sanitation of high-touch areas, training for employees on distancing and hygiene, and a return to work plan for employees. So it's really interesting to see. I didn't see anything about groomers, but I'm assuming that because that's a personal service, it probably would include it. We'll have to wait until 11 o'clock to see.
Well, look, this is absolute. This has gotten to the point where it's gone from the ridiculous to the sublime. Look, they have gotten this thing, screwed this thing so, and all these governors are having varying degrees of having their ability to become dictators, and some of them like it a lot more than others. This is ridiculous. There is freedom of choice, and I don't want to hear it. You're going to kill people, and if you do this and we allow this, we can't allow. Well, you know something? There is freedom. I'm sorry. This was supposed to be and is supposed to be the United States. We're supposed to have freedom of choice. Now, we've given him long enough. He's going to open up churches, but he's not going to open up gyms. Because you know something? If I want to take a chance on going to the gym, it's on me.
I agree.
If some 85-year-old wants to go there and lick the table in a restaurant and get COVID virus, that's their choice. The people who are in the high risk category know who they are. Everybody knows how old they are, and everybody knows what their medical conditions are. And we are supposed to be sentient beings. We have the ability to think. So for us to be basically controlled by the state is taking away our most fundamental right, the right that we have as Americans, that we have the freedom of choice. Listen, I could see this for a month or two until they established they knew it. But this disease is going to linger on for maybe, who knows how long it's going to be before they have a proven therapeutic set of procedures and a vaccine. It could take 2 months. It could take 2 years. We may never see a vaccine. Look what happened with AIDS.
Right.
It didn't shut down the world because this is absurd. I don't want to hear this anymore. That somebody may die. That's right. Well, guess what, Charlie? Screw it. Don't open up anything. Outlaw cars. Outlaw cigarettes. Outlaw anything that can kill you. Keep everybody locked in their house from birth to death. Because as soon as you walk out your front door, you could die. Or you could kill somebody with your car. This is absolute bullshit. It's gotten to the point where, this is crap. Okay? We had a pandemic. Now you've got all the medical community marshaled to deal with it. So we're going to live in a totalitarian state until these elected officials who are supposed to be working for us. See, they've usurped our right under the Constitution to run this government. That's what they've done as far as I'm concerned. They've allowed this to get their final wish. It's bad enough that they have protection. You can't do anything to congressmen. They have their own set of laws. They're exempt from perjury. They can lie to the public and nothing happens and we go to jail. Now they got their wish. They have become dictators. They no longer are representatives of the people. They are the the ruling class. Truly, they tell us when we can leave our house, what we have to wear when we leave the house, and every other facet of our life. And that is bullshit. Sorry, you can tell I'm not real happy they didn't open the gyms. So,
I can tell. Well, one of the interesting things is, under the governor's proposed order today, construction can resume. Construction never stopped. It was left to the mayors of the cities and towns to stop construction, and none of them did. None of them stopped. Just look at the high school. Paul Coogan never stopped construction at all. So it constantly went on. The only time I think it stopped there was when the carpenters union stepped off the job. But it's interesting because I'm seeing, as we're sitting here, I'm watching some of these reports, and according to Will Flanagan, and he posted this 11 hours ago, businesses that are set to get the green light from the state to open their doors on May 25th as part of the first of 4 reopening phases include barbershops, hair salons, and recreational marijuana shops. Retailers would be able to provide curbside pickup, and the hospitals will be cleared to resume elective procedures. But restaurants won't open during the first phase, and the MBTA will remain on restricted schedule. Chuck Gregory turned around and actually gave the breakdown of the churches. He says places of worship shall be limited to 40% of the building maximum permitted occupancy level, and ensure that attendees and employees have access to hand washing facilities, including soap and running water. Attendees who are not part of the same immediate household must be seated at least 6 feet apart. Members of the same immediate household are permitted to sit together and less than 6 feet apart.
Yeah, well, look, again, and this actually inhibits our recovery too, because remember, look, there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to go to restaurants, even when they do open them for a while, until they feel safe. There are people that are not going to go to the church, even though the churches are open, because they're elderly or they have underlying conditions, or they're just, they're people who are ultra cautious, and there are people like that. And there are other people who will go. But the fact is, the more quickly we open these places, the more quickly the level of acceptance to go back to these places and the comfort to go back to these places will come quicker. Now, if we're going to not open these places, once they do open, even if they're open at 40% capacity or 50% capacity, the fact is that they may not even get to 50% initially, because it's almost at the bar room, because everybody's going to go off and try to get snocking.
They're going to try to get hammered, that's for sure.
But the fact is that, this is inhibiting our recovery. It's inhibiting our rights. This is a disgrace. And look what's happened in a disgrace. You had a video of cars and celebrating somebody's birthday that were leaving rubber, roaring their engines in a highly congested neighborhood. So their defense would be, well, this is a good thing. We're making the person whose birthday feel good. Yeah, but you're disturbing an entire neighborhood. You don't give a crap about other people. And that's one of the problems we have today. People do not have any consideration for other people. In a neighborhood full of 3 decades, you got 8 or 9 or 10 cars driving around the block and going up the street, leaving 20 feet of skid marks when they're leaving rubber and roaring their engines. Yeah, well, I guess apparently whoever's birthday it was a car fan. But the fact is that that's just total insensitivity to anybody else in the neighborhood. And they don't give a crap. And that's the problem. And that's what disturbs me. And I know that segues into your issue that you were lobbied so strongly to stop your complaint about the upcoming rolling parade.
Oh, please. It's interesting because we have graduates in this city from Bristol Community College, from Durfee High School, from Conley, from Diamond, and none of them can have a commencement. None of them can go to their graduation ceremony, walk across the stage, and get their diploma. But the mayor is going to allow a parade to go through the city. And granted, I understand it's a memorial parade based upon Memorial Day, etc., etc., etc. But, and I say this very clearly, but this does not mean I or anyone else is anti-veteran. On the contrary, we are pro-veteran. We are pro-health for the veterans. Because the people that are going to participate in this parade are going to be 60 years and older. And they're all prime pickings for the virus. The big problem I have is that they're going to collect or congregate there at 11:30 or start to form at 11:30 and are expected to leave at 1 or at 2 o'clock. Problem I have with that is this. What if the temperature is 80 degrees next Monday, or even in the high 70s or low 70s? What happens? Are you going to sit in a car for 2 hours and not get out of the vehicle and not talk to people around you? Are you not going to go out for a coffee? Are you just going to sit there for 2 hours and wait to drive around and blow your horn and wave out the windows? I don't think so. I think that what's going to happen is people are going to congregate while they're waiting to leave, and I believe they're going to congregate along the parade route. Like it or not, that's what's going to happen. But this mayor doesn't have a set of balls. Put it bluntly, he's non-confrontational. If he had a set, he would turn around and say, this is not effective. But remember, this is the same mayor that put on the Easter parade. Because it's a feel-good thing. It makes people feel better. And it boosts their morale. You know what? If after this parade, we see a spike in virus infections and or deaths, that's on your hands, Mr. Mayor. You did it. You and the organizers of this Memorial Day parade. And I will not let you forget that right up to the next election season, because I will call you the killer mayor. If anyone dies from this, that's what it's going to be.
Well, regardless, CJ, if anybody dies or not, it's the wrong thing to do. If they truly believe in the safety and all these rules and regulations they've imposed, you can't have exceptions, because it's their mantra that we're jeopardizing the public health if we walk around without a mask. But people can lay 30 feet of rubber on a street and roar engines and disturb an entire population for a half an hour or 45 minutes, and that's okay because it's for somebody's birthday. No, it's illegal to, number one, do that kind of stuff in the city, lay strips of rubber, drag, and basically drag race up the street. And you're jeopardizing the public safety. And it's wrong. And as you said, look, there's nobody that's more pro-veteran than me. I'm a veteran. My father fought in World War II. So, there's nobody more pro-veteran. But to me, if you're going to make a rule like this that's repressing basically 99% of the society, it should apply to all. There is nothing that will supersede it. As far as I'm concerned, rather than do this and make everybody feel good, I think you hit a very valid point, CJ, about these graduates, these people who are graduating from high school or college, and they're going to lose one of their greatest life experiences to walk across the stage in front of their family and have a diploma given to them. And you know something? I think I saw it on TV, but it was a great idea. Find a large area, whether it's UMass Dartmouth or something, that's got a massive parking lot. And I think this community used a drive-in theater. Allow them to have all their family and friends go there in their own personal vehicles and be able to watch, and then have the graduates, individually, equally spaced, walk across the stage and get their diploma, and people can see them. And they're not jeopardizing anybody because they're not allowed to leave their vehicle, period.
Right. And
do something like that for a lifetime accomplishment moment. You're not going to graduate from high school 72 times in your life. You do it once. You walk across the stage. Your family may want to see you. You may be the first person in your family to ever graduate from high school or ever graduate from college. So to me, those are that, politicians put your brains to that rather than stuff that's going to play for political traction for you. Oh, we had the Easter parade. Oh, we had this parade. And as I said, I wish we could have a parade on Memorial Day. I will go, as I said, they'll probably lock me up, but I'm going to go to my father's gravesite and make sure that his plaque is from World War II is clear, and I do that periodically anyway. But I will be out in my own personal space, and I will do what I have to do. I do not need a parade to remind me of the sacrifices reminded of that every single day because I know that there are Americans dying, and as do most veterans who really care about veterans. I know that every single day there are men and women in the armed forces in harm's way, and every once in a while we hear about someone dying in Afghanistan or Iraq or in Somalia or somewhere else where our military is protecting us. So I don't need that parade. I'm sorry. And I'm a veteran. And it's nice if you want to go. I'm not a parade guy anyway. I'm not but the fact is that it's wrong. If we're going to prohibit everybody and lock them up like the prisoner of Zenda, let's everybody be a prisoner. And if you're going to do something for people who are going to miss a milestone in their life, like a college or high school graduation. That's just my opinion.
Well, while you're on that, high school graduations, college graduations, I want to ask, what is our school department, what is our school committee, what is our mayor doing to plan for the reopening of school in September? Or if school will reopen in September? Because as you remember, Dr. Anthony Fauci had said that, maybe schools shouldn't open in September. As a matter of fact, Dr. Anthony Fauci referred to the opening of schools in his testimony before a Senate subcommittee. While many believe he said schools should not be reopened until we have a vaccine, the belief is in error. Dr. Fauci said that extreme caution should be used in reopening the schools and that an isolation protocol should be in place, contact tracing, and treatments or vaccines if available. Plans also need to be made regarding class size, social distancing in the school, and classrooms and potential screenings at the door of the schools before the child can enter, i.e. temperatures, symptoms identification, isolation again. What happens if Fall River has to cut these classrooms in half? We are at 30 plus students, and we always talk about cutting class size down, cutting class size down, cutting class size down. We may not have an option now. We may actually have to cut a class size down. Look at what they're doing to the churches. No more than 40% of the building capacity. What would happen if they turned around and said 40% of a school capacity? What do you do with the other 60% of the students? Are they planning for this?
Oh, you're right, CJ. I mean, look, and that's the problem. Look, I have nothing but respect for all the medical people who are working on this problem, but there are even disagreements within the medical community on what we're going to do. Well, let's face it. You know as well, you know better than I because you're a medical professional. That medical professionals always err on the side of caution.
Of course we do.
You've got very few medical people who say, the hell with us, let's just roll the dice. It's like they put people on blood thinners not only to make money for the pharmaceutical company. But I'm serious. If you've got something like, if you ever got a blood clot in your leg, the doctors will keep you on blood thinners for the rest of your life just in case you did to prevent you from ever getting it again. Where maybe if you did it for a short term, they always want to err on the side of caution. They don't want you to die and turn around and sue a malpractice suit against them.
Right.
And the thing is that medical professionals, and I'm not saying it's wrong, it's right probably in their eyes, but this is again, we're dealing with it, with this attitude until we get a vaccine. What happens if we never get an effective vaccine? So does that mean kids are never going to go back to school, or we're always going to have increase the size of schools, double their size to accommodate the distancing? I mean, this is just it's become an absolute nightmare. And you know something? If you ever watched Cheryl Atkinson, where they showed the Special Forces exercise, one of the final exercises before they go to training, full training, it's called Robin Sage, and it's an exercise for military operations. But there's a great excerpt in that thing, if you watch Cheryl Full Measure, where one of the colonel in charge of the Robert Sage exercise said they're put in situations where there are no right or wrong answers, but every decision has a consequence. And I think that's where we are today in the civilian world, because there are no right or wrong answers right now, because nobody knows anything definitively. There's no right, there's no wrong, but there are consequences for every action taken.
Correct. And you're right. And I think that's going to happen as we start looking at this. And I don't want to see the school committee, the school department, and the mayor wait until the last minute. I don't want to see them waiting until August to start deciding how they're going to open the schools. I don't want them to wait until August to see how they're going to handle social distancing or isolation or masks or or sanitation, hand washing, et cetera, et cetera. Because if they wait until August, they're not going to have enough time to do it in September. They need to start that planning now. They have the time. There's no excuse. So they should be doing this now. And if they're not doing it, I don't want to hear come September, well, we didn't have enough time to plan for this, because guess what? You had more than enough time to plan for it. You chose not to plan for it. And that's a decision you make. And parents need to start planning for this as well. If they can get some little containers, because I know they're hard to find, but if they can get some little containers of hand sanitizer, get them and put them aside for your kids to go back to school. And then make sure they have them when they're in school so they can take care of their hands while they're in school. And the school should be making sure there's hand sanitizer throughout the halls, in every classroom, and let's see if they do that. It's time to start making these plans. It's time to start making it happen. But hey, who am I? I'm one person. I'm a citizen of Fall River, and citizens of Fall River don't get a say. They don't get listened to anyhow.
But CJ, you're not just a citizen of Fall River. You're a citizen of Fall River, and everybody has a right to have an opinion. But let's face it, your opinion has a lot more, should carry weight. You are a public health nurse. You are you have a doctorate in nursing. You are a healthcare professional. So when you evaluate this situation, you're evaluating it with a different set of eyes, and you can be your assessment is more accurate than a person that knows absolutely nothing about it. It's just a gut feeling. It's like, and that's the key. It would be like, if you're going to talk about the fire department, I think I have the credentials and the experience in the fire service to have a completely different perspective on everything that is said. And when you say it, I think you said you had a conversation about that parade, and they talked about everything's going to be in service, but that's not accurate. We can get into it at length, but there's a problem with roving trucks, and that is that it could adversely affect the response time, and therefore adversely affect the outcome of a rescue or an initial fire attack. But that's something tactically we have to get into. But as I said, when I look at stuff, when people talk about things in the fire department, I'm looking at it through a different set of eyes. I'm looking at it as a professional firefighter, and you're looking at it as a professional healthcare worker. So I think your opinion really has to be given a little bit more credibility.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it looks like we're running out of time here. So I just want to thank everyone for watching as usual. Hopefully with this opening, maybe, hey, Steve, listen to me on this one. Maybe we'll be able to get back into our studio. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be wonderful? So have a great day, everyone. Enjoy your day. Stay safe and stay angry.
And remember, Charlie Baker, give us our choice back.